Today's a great day. Today is a great day for Haute Residence as we're actually doing our episode number 9, chatting with Haute real estate members. And today is exciting because we have Hilary Farnum-Fasth, broker owner of Corcoran Reverie, based in Destin, Florida. So Hilary, first of all, welcome to Haute Residence.
Thank you so much.
And if you don't mind me asking, beautiful background, where are you? Are you in your office or is it your house?
I am actually in one of our offices. This is what we call our Seagrove Beach office, and we happen to have amazing views of the Gulf, so we're pretty spoiled here.
And if people don't know, because I'm a Floridian, Destin has probably the nicest beaches in Florida, white sand, blue water. So if you've never been to Destin, it's pretty much kind of a secret, but once you go there, it's one of the most beautiful beaches in all of Florida. So Hilary, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Before we do that, I want to kind of go into a bio on who you are. You've been in the business, you said, for how many years? 22 years?
Actually going on 24 years.
Okay, wow, 24 years in the business. You use powerful negotiation skills to stay ahead of the curve in a dynamic, ever-changing industry, and yet you complement the profession prowess with your dedication for community involvement, serving as the vice president on the board of directors for Food for Thought, a local nonprofit fighting childhood hunger. Having started her real estate career within the renowned communities of Regatta Bay and Watersound Beach, Hilary is well-versed in the art of selling luxury real estate. While owner-broker of Beachy Beach 30A and Beachy Beach Destin, Hilary was responsible for leading day-to-day operations, creating marketing and advertising programs, listing high-end luxury properties, and the hiring, training, and managing of new agents. Hilary holds a bachelor's degree from Florida State University and continues to educate herself through her affiliation with a plethora of professional real estate organizations. With a genuine passion to help her clients, Hilary's principles and focus have driven her past accomplishments and continue to inspire enthusiasm for selling real estate on the beautiful stretch of Florida Panhandle. So Hilary, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
So Hilary, in your bio, you went to Florida State. Did you grow up in Florida? Where did you grow up in?
I did. I grew up about 2.5 hours away from Tallahassee, and I had an older brother and an older sister, both of who went to Florida State. So I was indoctrinated at a young age to be a Seminole.
Well, I'm a big Hurricane fan, so you know,
so we're enemies.
we'll let that slide.
All right.
And so when you went to Florida State, besides going to football games, what did you study? What did you want to get into?
So I had a couple different majors. I think like many people, I had to test out different routes to really find out what I loved. I actually wanted to be a broadcast journalist when I started out. So I took that path for a while, and then I went into hospitality because I did have a love for, that whole business. And I actually ended up doing my internship at Disney World based on that major. And I give all of my credit to my entire professional career to that internship because it did teach me that I did not want to be in the hospitality industry, which is what led me to go into marketing and communications ultimately, which of course led me to sales. But I give Disney World all the credit because that internship, which actually turned into a 2-year working environment for me with Disney World, was the basis for everything I did and the basis for all of my professional choices and opportunities I was given.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That you could say that. And so after the internship, what did you do when you left school?
Yeah, well, so again, I realized that hospitality, as much as I loved it, was not the career for me because you basically work 100 hours a week for not very much money. And I knew that I needed to pursue a different path. So I did go back to school. At that point, I came back up to Tallahassee at Florida State and then, went along to finish my degree in the marketing and communications focus.
Okay, and then after college, did you move back home, or what did you do after school?
So after school, I was offered a job in Destin, Florida at Regatta Bay. And that is where I got my start. And I was in marketing for them and actually had an incredible mentor. They had a director of marketing who was probably one of the best I've ever had the privilege of being mentored by. And he taught me everything to do with marketing, a new development. And it was incredibly high level. I did that for a year. And then the developer himself was a major visionary. He has left a huge print in Destin. He has behind so many of the major developments that are even there today. And he was a visionary. So he always was teaching us how to sell real estate in a visionary way. But I actually didn't want to sell real estate because my mom had been a real estate agent. So I wanted to do anything but real estate. So I was, oh yeah. So mainly because I'm giving away my age, but we just had the one phone and she always was trying to get me off the phone because she had to have clients calling her on the home phone. So I couldn't be talking to my friends. So it just seemed like a huge inconvenience and I wanted nothing to do with that world. And so
you must have hated your mom.
Pretty much. So I tried hard to not go into real estate. Obviously, I was always meant to be in it, and the developer saw that in me, and I didn't realize it, but for like the entire year that I was doing the marketing, he knew he was going to have me go into real estate. And so he said, listen, you're sitting here on site doing the marketing, but sometimes clients are coming in and the agents are out in the field and you're the one talking about the real estate. And I would just be so much more comfortable if you had your real estate license. You don't have to, you're not going to be an agent, but I want you to get your license, because he knew I was resistant. And he's like, I'll pay for it, blah, blah, blah. So I got the license, and literally the day I got licensed, he's like, oh, by the way, I need you to become an agent because we just had somebody move on. So that is how I became into real estate. And of course, it was the best thing I ever did. And being under a visionary leader like that was the best way I could have ever started in real estate, because he taught me how to sell a lifestyle and how to sell a dream. And he was doing, the lifestyle thing way before that was the buzzword. So I feel like I got the best platform when I started out, and I never had any of the junk. So I feel like I just got that perfect mentoring from the beginning.
And it must be amazing that he believed in you so much out of school to push you.
Huge. I mean, looking back now, I'm like, I now interview new agents who were my age back then, and I'm like, you're too young to be in this. What? So I do now have a heart to give to younger agents and newer agents, because someone did that for me and put all that into me, which really was the catalyst for an incredible career, because it was all high-end luxury real estate. And I just, from the very beginning, they trained me and mentored me as to what that looks like.
And how long did it take you to get your first closing? Tell us about that.
Well, it was very quick, because we were one of the newest golf course communities in Destin, Florida. So there was a huge demand for it, and it was new construction, and it was a very incredible product. And so I would say within, less than 60 days, I was already doing deals and already closing deals, but I had a lot of help also from the other agent who was there working in the development. So it was pure developer sales.
And how exciting was it to get your first commission check?
Okay, so here's the thing. Of course it was amazing. And a lot of people probably say this, but I never, ever it was not a money-driven thing for me. It was not, I wasn't counting how much the commission was when I did the deals. And to this day, it's funny, I'm the one who doesn't even know what the commission is. I don't even know where I'm at in the rankings. I've never cared about that part of it. It was always about the deal. I've always been just so focused on just identifying the right property for that client, I put so much focus into that and the focus of the transaction that the actual closing wasn't my, like the monetary closing was not my goal. It was the transaction and the relationship for the client.
And so when you got into the business, because it was a new, like you said, it was a hot development for Destin.
Yeah.
It must have been exciting and a huge confidence builder for you to have so much success out of the gate.
It was the perfect way, I say, to get into real estate, because I had this incredible product that I believed in. And I realize now that having a product you believe in makes it not feel like sales. And that's what the developer knew that I didn't know. I only saw what, you know, some general real estate could look like. But when you are representing a product that is incredible, it's not selling. You really are just helping people find the lifestyle they're looking for. So I love that, because I was never really, the sales part was never what it was about for me.
And then tell us what happened next, because obviously once that developed, there was 2 developments the developer built in Destin, or how many developments did he build?
So he had multiple developments, but what happened was, and this is why I say I give all the credit to Disney. So St. Joe Company, which was the largest private landowner in our area, and they have the most what we call amenity rich developments in the more, a little bit further east to what we call the 30A area. They're closer to the seaside. Their first community was called Watercolor. And they are this incredible development company that at the time, the CEO of that company had a Disney background, and he knew what it meant if you had gone the Disney path. He knew what kind of training that meant. He knew if you had gone into their management path that, you know, you had qualities that he was seeking for his company. So I was given the opportunity again at what I think was a very young age to be able to get hired by the St. Joe Company to come in to represent their first community that they wanted the whole, you know, world to know about. So I had the privilege of traveling all over the country to introduce this community. And it was the first true community after Seaside. Seaside had always been the quintessential, you know, urban community that everybody had looked to when they were seeking that area. So this was a really big deal, and it had a 5-star hotel associated with it and this resort concept that was really new to the area. And I was just so fortunate to get in on the ground floor, and I ended up actually being with them for 7 years. And it was, again, just incredible mentors, incredible training, you know, all product that, and a lifestyle. It was all just selling a lifestyle. So that lifestyle aspect of real estate was just completely what my niche was, and where I was really comfortable and could succeed at a really high level.
And then what did you do after that? Did you go out on your own, or what was your next step after that?
Well, so then, and this is going to sound like I'm from that show where the guy says he can see people that are dead, but I could see that I didn't know the recession was going to be exactly what it was in 08, and I had no way to know it was going to be as catastrophic, but I definitely saw the writing on the wall, because I was part of sales that were happening that every day we were saying this doesn't make any sense based on the demand and the pricing. And I just knew it was something was wrong, even though I didn't know what was wrong. And so before anybody else made any changes, because everyone just sort of thought it would last forever, I knew it wouldn't.
And when was this? This was the first
end of
recession.
07.
So 07, 08.
Yeah, end of 07, beginning of 08. I actually made the decision to go out of developer sales, even though I was the top producing agent for Watersound Beach. Everyone thought I was crazy. Like, why would you give up this amazing position? But I saw what was I knew something was gonna happen, that it didn't make sense to stay in that place.
You were realistic with the market and honest with yourself and said, You know, like as great as this is, if I don't make a decision, it will be, you know, it will be, I'll deal with suffering in the future.
Yeah, I've always been forward thinking, and I've always been a huge risk taker. I've always liked change. I thrive in it. And so I made that change, and I actually then went into general real estate. So 2008 was really the beginning of me being a general real estate agent. And I obviously got into that then right as the recession was hitting. And so
Yeah.
it was a huge transition, a big risk, a massive change, but it ended up being the greatest thing I ever did. And it was definitely one of those turning points where that could have gone drastically the other way, but I was able to take that, and I mean, I just went all in. And
Well,
so
let's rewind about that, because obviously you went during a tough time where a lot of, how was the Destin market? Were a lot of homes underwater? Were people doing a lot of subprime loans and like no money down, or what, how was the Destin
yes,
market at that time?
yeah, so it was all what we called, it was all flips. No one actually had ever any intention of owning the properties. So it was that whole thing of where
It was an inflated market.
it was, and it was based on false demand. Like, it was based on these people never actually had any intention of owning the properties. They were just planning to flip them before they ever closed, because that's what was happening. And that's what that looked like. And that's why I knew it was really messed up. You know, I knew that that was not sustainable. And yes, of course, it was all the people getting loans that shouldn't have gotten loans, 100% financing, made no sense type of stuff. And so it was exactly what was going on.
And so, I mean, obviously going out on your own, going from like a job that you were getting consistent deals to
Yeah.
going on your own, it must have been humbling, because obviously things weren't selling. So tell us a little about how long it took you to start getting into sales, or did you have success immediately with that also?
So ironically, I had success immediately, but it was because, like I said, I went all in, and I actually invested in myself heavily. And what I mean by that is everything was down, right? Everyone's was like pulling way back. And the first thing that people do, right, is the thing they shouldn't do, which is they stop paying for all the marketing. They like start cutting, they get fear-based, and fear drives them versus like something else, which for me, fear is just not even in there at all for me. And so I actually went even more in. So we had a local newspaper. I'm again aging myself, but we weren't doing social media at that point. And so it was still all print advertising. And so there was a local newspaper where if you had an ad in there, you were it. You were one of the
And you
top.
were like buying big ads
I was. That's it. I did literally these full page ads that cost a fortune. I basically had to like leverage my home to do it in a year where, it was more scarce. I went all in. So it quickly, people's fear allowed me to go to the top very quickly and stand out very quickly. But again, huge risk. I had to take.
Yeah, but I think that's, you're being humble about it, but I think that's important for anyone to realize, because there's another broker based in Santa Barbara. She's one of the top brokers in the country. And she said during the same crash, she tripled her real estate investment to make sure her name was out there.
That's right.
You were in an unknown market. The market was crashing. I mean, you said you leveraged your home, and that's what an entrepreneur does when they build a business. And I think it's important for people to learn from that. And it's a remarkable investment that you did, because, people see where you're at now and think like, oh, you have it made, you have it easy. But you invested big money to get to where you got to, and that's an amazing story, but also that it worked out, an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you. It's, looking back, it seems like it all logically makes sense. I did that, but in the moment, it definitely, was scary. And I had 2 young children, so I was risking, my family's income as well and all that. But it never even occurred to me not to do that. There was not even a question. And the other thing was I wasn't afraid of going into, at that time it became short sales. And it was before, you know, the banks had anyone representing, and we as the agents negotiated the short sales. And so I worked like a dog. I mean, I've never worked so hard in all my life. I remember, I mean, I literally had a desk in my bedroom, and I barely slept because all we did was talk to the banks morning, noon, and night, negotiate morning, noon, and night. Like, looking back, it's so strange that we did that as real estate professionals, but I just went hard at it. I mean, I never let up. I had like 99% of my short sales closed. Some of them took 9 months, a year. I never gave up, never gave up. It never even occurred to me to not fight for my client. It just, and it really was, it was a fight. I mean, all of 08, all of 09. And then in 2010, see, our area started coming out of the downturn quicker than the rest of the country, because we actually started going down a little bit in 05 and 06 because of Hurricane Katrina. And so we were seeing a decline even before the recession. So we obviously started coming out of the recession a little quicker. And then in 2010, probably fourth quarter of 2010, we really started to see maybe some light at the end of the tunnel. And so then I did it again. I did another huge risk. And before we were actually even close to being recovered, I then decided to become my own broker and my own owner. And everyone again thought I was crazy. Like, who goes and opens a real estate company in 2010? Like, that's nuts. But I had, again, I knew I needed to do that and wanted to do that because I had such a clear path on how I wanted to help agents. So I did become a broker specifically to help agents. I saw a gap in our area because so many of the companies were boutique companies and training was not a part of it. That was just not what this world was. And I saw so many new agents just really desperately needing help and needing training. And I wanted to do that on a bigger scale. So that is actually why I became a broker.
And did you do it on, what was your company called back then? Was it?
So that was the Beachy Beach company that I opened. So that was Beachy Beach Real Estate. That's
Okay.
what I opened in 2010. And that was a great experience. I had a wonderful partner in that. I will say the only mistake I made now looking back, but of course it's hard to even say it's a mistake because it all led to where I am today, is that particular brokerage was across all price points. It was not actually just a luxury real estate company. And I realize now, because my entire background was luxury real estate and new construction and development, I should have just gone immediately just that pure luxury real estate route. But I think that was the only thing that in 2010 to go into, it's easy now to say in 2021, I should have just gone into luxury. But in 2010, that was kind of nuts because, you know what I mean? So I think it's easy to say I should have just gone luxury from the beginning. But I think if I logically think about that, it makes sense why I did that. But that is ultimately why I then went out on my own into just a pure luxury brokerage, which was, we named Hilary and Reverie. And that's where Reverie has come from, is I did do then just my own pure luxury brand. And that was from like 2018 to 2020.
What does Reverie mean to you?
Okay, so interesting about Reverie, we had a incredible marketing firm out of Chicago do huge focus groups. And I not only didn't want my name on the company, I also didn't even know what Reverie meant at the time. So when they presented me with this name, Hilary and Reverie, I'm like, no way. That's like, no way am I doing that. I hate it. I don't want my name on it because I am not a flashy person like that at all. And they're like, no, you don't understand. Like, we did this focus group and we asked so many people in your area, you know, about you, and every single person, we never even had to say your last name. We say, oh, do you know Hilary? And they're like, yeah, she says all the high-end real estate. So they're like, your name is synonymous with high-end luxury real estate. It would take you years to get that kind of branding. So you definitely want to use your name. And then Reverie means to dream about pleasant things. And so they said, you know, everyone that is buying at the beach, you know, they're dreaming about either having that retirement beach home or that second beach home or moving to the beach full time with their families. It's all a dream. And then they knew that I had plans to do more than even beyond just real estate at the beach, that I would be going maybe to other areas. And so it might mean to dream about, a lake house, a mountain house, like whatever your dream is when it comes to where you live and where your home is. I wanted to be a part of that. So Reverie has come to be one of my favorite words. I love it so much. It's why it's now obviously under the new brokerage, which is Corcoran Reverie. I definitely have Reverie now means everything to me.
Yeah, so let's talk about that with your beautiful shirt.
Yes.
How did you come up with the entrepreneur idea to bring Corcoran to your area? Tell us a little about that and why you chose Corcoran.
Yeah, so interesting. They actually kind of chose me, as fates would have it. Ironically, I had just had a baby who is now almost 2. And when I had come back into the office just a couple weeks after having him, there was a card on my desk from a gentleman with Corcoran. And I thought my office was like punking me because we do a lot of pranks on each other. And I thought it was a big joke because they know how much I love Corcoran. They know I love Barbara Corcoran. They know I love Shark Tank, all that good stuff. And so literally, this was so embarrassing, but I called the guy and I was like, "Are you really with Corcoran?" And he was like, "Yeah, like what?" So anyways, it broke the ice for sure. And
that's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's me. So, the gentleman who was from Corcoran, they had decided, obviously Corcoran was going to start having affiliates, and they were looking for key brokers. So they had a really interesting strategy. They wanted a partnership with specific brokers, and they had identified me as a broker. It wasn't so much about my brokerage or any of that. They really wanted a partnership with me. And so I love that so much. I had never, ever had any interest or desire to be under, quote unquote, a national brand. I'd actually always been an independent broker, independent agent. I was actually the poster child for anti-brand. I would tell my agents, "You don't need that, blah, blah, blah." But Corcoran was that one brand that I always had kind of modeled after, thought they just had figured it all out, loved their messaging, but they had been an independent company for 50 years. So I never dreamed that they would have affiliates. And quite honestly, when I figured out that they were coming into the market, I didn't want to compete with them. So I also realized there had been
more of a strategic move. You bought out the competition.
Right. Keep your enemies closer kind of thing. No. So it was so many things. Plus there had been a massive shift in my mind about real estate in general and our area in general. Like I had told you before, the whole boutique real estate companies at the beach was what worked, but there has been a shift, and the brand shift has happened. And I saw it again, kind of that forward thinking. I knew that I'd be okay no matter what, because I have so many years experience and I have really loyal clients, and I've built this referral business over 20 plus years. But for my agents, and again, remember, I'm in this for the agents, and I knew for them to have a fighting chance long-term, I needed to get them under that kind of brand, and they needed that identity. And for listings more than anything, the buyer side of it, you can get away with it, but on the listing side, it was huge. And then ironically, again, my risk of doing that, I also just got extremely lucky. And I do think I just have been so blessed my whole career, lucky, blessed, whatever you call it, because the pandemic happened. And my company, Corcoran, is headquarters out of New York City. And guess who everyone was moving to the beach from? New York. So the timing was incredible. I actually thought when I decided to go under the Corcoran brand that I was years ahead of it, that it was going to take years for our area to embrace and to understand everything about it. But when I tell you it was literally overnight, it was overnight, because I launched Corcoran Reverie in April of 2020, and it was the pandemic. So like it was just this immediate overnight sensation, and it's been incredible. Truly and honestly, the best thing I've ever done in my career was affiliating with them.
Unfortunately for you, I think Destin was the most laxed market for COVID throughout the whole process.
Yes.
Correct? So
Yeah,
pretty much people were like, where do we go where we could be on the beach?
it's
And,
here.
and they came to you. How many agents do you have currently right now?
So we are roughly right around 130 agents.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
a big operation.
we have grown so quickly. Everybody has just, again, because we've just had this huge success with the brand, everyone has wanted to come and be a part of it. It's, you know, their whole motto of live who you are became insanely relevant during COVID. I think everyone re-examined their lives and what does home mean to them, and what does being at home mean to them, and what does living who you are mean. And making that move to the beach became what was some people's 5-year plan and 10-year plan and 20-year plan overnight became their plan. And so we've had so many people move to the beach as now their primary home. And that was a big shift for us too, because it was such a second home market. Now to have more of this primary shift has been really fun for us.
So you've been in business for over 20 years. What's some advice that you could give to a new agent or anyone that, you know, is getting into the business in today?
Yeah, you have to take the risk. You have to say yes to everything, because saying yes to everything opens doors that you can't imagine. It is not being afraid of change. It's being able to pivot. It's wanting to pivot. It's wanting to not stay in the same place. It's wanting to build that business. And I think you said it earlier, which I think is one of the most important things. This did not happen overnight. Because it's 20 plus years of loyalty, because I did my job in cultivating those relationships. And so they now want to refer everybody to me. They want to do all their business with me. They want their children to do their business with me. But that takes time and years, and you have to prove yourself, right? And I think if newer agents starting out do things right at the beginning, they can have this really long career. But they have to look at it as a long career and not as an overnight type career, because it should take, like anything, it should take a little time to cultivate that loyalty and those referrals. And that's the goal, is to make it a long lasting career instead of like this immediate overnight make a lot of money type thing. Because I think it will mess you up. I think if you think, oh, I'm going to make all this money overnight, and then you don't, it totally is devastating and demotivating. Whereas if you're like, no, I'm growing something that's going to sustain for years and years, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I'm going to have this amazing, sustainable career that can last the rest of my life. It's actually one of the coolest careers in that way.
Did you ever apologize to your mom for being so mean to her when she was on the phone?
Well, ironically, my mom now works for me. So
that was my next question. If you hired your mom.
Yep.
Amazing. So tell us, to finish, where do you see yourself in your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so I definitely plan to open more Corcoran Reveries all throughout the Southeast. I can't wait to bring this brand to all the areas that I think is just a perfect fit for. And we're going to continue to grow and provide insanely high level training at a luxury premium type style for our agents, because I think that's something that's been missing in the market too, where you're training them on being these premium luxury agents, because someone gave me that privilege when I started, and I want to give that now to all the agents that come and decide to be with us.
Well, I have to say, I'm very impressed with your entrepreneurial spirit, because what you built didn't happen overnight, but it was done through risk and hard work and perseverance. And I want to congratulate you on, I mean, it seems like you're living your dream, and it seems like you're very happy, and congratulations on what you built. But I'm excited to see where you grow, and I can't wait in 5 years when we do this again and you're like, I have 12 offices and 1,000 agents working underneath me in the Southeast.
Me too. Yep, you've said it. You put it out in the universe for me. So let's see if that comes true.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you continued success. And this was an amazing chat with Haute Residence Leaders. This is our episode number 9, so I really appreciate you for opening up and, you know, giving some people some inspiration, because obviously you didn't get to where you got to through, you know, luck. It's all hard work. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, enjoy your day.
All right,
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye-bye.